Welcome to Gat Chat. I'm excited because we have the one and only Peasy with us today, and he's got some guns. He's got some really cool pieces, specifically this super tricked out Springfield Prodigy that I really want to talk about. It's I saw it more recently, and I was just like, dude, can we talk about that? So I'm excited to do that. And of course, I just want to just quick housekeeping. If you guys are enjoying this version of what we're doing here on the Gun Club channel with the Gat Chats, with the costly conversations, with some of the other conversations, we're thinking about doing some gear focused stuff. What are we going to call that? Gear talk, gear chat. You decide. What should we call that? Just talking about gear, talk about magazines, talk about lights, talk about medicals. Like, what should we call that? Anyways, getting back to it, guys, thank you so much for being here. If you're listening on podcast, we're going to try to do our best to make sure that your experience is enjoyable and not at all frustrating. So we're going to do our best to explain exactly what it is that we are showing and telling. You know, Gat Chat is pretty much show and tell, but if you're on the audio side, we're going to make sure that you have an enjoyable experience. That said, we've been talking for like a minute straight. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Bro, welcome to the show. Good to have you on,
What's up,
man.
man?
Peasy, the man himself. What you got for us, man?
Man, I got the Springfield Prodigy, that 4.25 inch, and then I got a few other handguns that we can discuss on here.
Okay, so
Got
let's spend a solid 5 minutes talking about that Springfield Prodigy because that's what's exciting to me. That you've got some cool guns, bro, but that Prodigy, I know you put some work into it. Let's talk about it.
yeah. It just started off as just a regular Prodigy that you would just see in a gun store, and you know how Rocky Springfield's release with the Prodigy was, but honestly, I didn't really have that many issues with mine. But I went ahead and changed out a few parts anyway, only because I actually shoot a lot, and I just hear a lot about how mem internals don't really last as long as something like from EGW or Atlas Gunworks. So most of the parts in here have been dememmed. We got the EGW ignition kit in here. Got the stainless hammer, the
So
EGW.
the ignition kit. What does the ignition kit comprise of?
It comprises of a hammer. I'm trying to think. A mainspring. It comes with a leaf spring as well, but my gunsmith actually didn't use the one from EGW. I guess he had problems fitting that, so he just went ahead and tuned the leaf spring that came with my gun out of the factory. And really, the ignition kit it helps you get just a lighter trigger pull. Really, the ignition kit is really just a trigger job, and then plus whatever trigger that you want to put in your gun.
Okay, fair, fair, fair.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking. I know you went to the back strap. Did you change something out on the back or?
Uh, yeah. So the Springfield Prodigy actually comes with a polymer mainspring housing. I just went ahead and just swapped that out with the an EGW mainspring housing unit. Something made out of metal just gives the gun a little more weight down on the grip. It's not really nothing you really notice, but I just felt having a stainless steel mainspring housing would just be better than something made out of plastic. So
I mean, I like the logic. That seems very reasonable to say metal is a little bit more durable than plastic or polymer. I, I don't see an issue with that. So, what
yeah,
did you change in
definitely.
this gun that you felt like really changed its overall feel, like gave you a better advantage? Like if you had to go toe to toe with another Prodigy, what gives you the edge?
Definitely the safeties on here. So these are Atlas carry safeties. These are high ride safeties. So basically, the way you shoot a 2011, you just ride the safety with your thumb. And the way the Atlas safeties are designed is that it's a high rise, so your thumb is really up there on the slide of the gun, along with your thumb on your support hand. It just gives you better control of the gun, just better stabilization, recoil stabilization.
Excellent. I mean, control of the gun is super important. You got to get a good grip. Everything starts with the grip. I mean, stance is one thing, but if you don't have a decent grip on the gun, you're not gonna do anything. You're actually gonna induce
Yeah, grip,
malfunctions. You know what I mean?
yeah, grip either makes or breaks your experience at the range. So,
Absolutely,
on a
absolutely.
1911, especially, a grip is something that you really need to master. Like when you like when I dry fire at home, like I'm still getting in the hang of getting that perfect grip every time I take that gun out. So there might be moments like where my hand isn't really on the grip safety, so the gun won't fire. It's just something that I gotta work around with. The more I practice, the more I get in the hang of it because I come from Glocks and I'm just used to carrying a 19X really.
So, how long would you say you've had the Prodigy?
It's been around like at least 7 or 8 months. Like at least 4 or 5 of those months were with my gunsmith. And the reason it took so long is because I kept really adding on things that I wanted him to do. Like at first, I never really got these Atlas thumb safeties, but then I was like, I didn't really like the safeties that came with the Prodigy. Like the way like the factory safeties are designed, it has like a little point at the end, and it would just dig. It would dig on my thumb. It just got really uncomfortable. Like it was just a lot of pain shooting this gun when flicking the safety.
Yeah, yeah. That obviously that could be really frustrating. There's a lot of little guns out there that have little tiny safeties that I'm not entirely sure how people feel like they can draw this micro handgun, deactivate the safety, and then present out, or as they're deactivating, presenting out, or presenting out, and then deactivate. Like what? I don't carry guns with safeties. You know, so I don't even know what the process is. But with a 2011 1911, it's a little bit more straightforward. It's a large safety. As you're presenting, you can click it down, and it's a little bit more
Really,
straightforward.
it's
Say,
really out there. Like not really looking for the safety at all. It just feels natural on a 1911.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, I would say so. Now, for those who are watching or listening, rather, let's describe the color scheme, the obvious parts. I see you have a light, you have an optic.
Mm-hmm.
You changed up the look a little bit. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to go with a tuxedo look. So it's just a blacked out gun with some stainless steel parts. I don't know, I just think black and silver is really clean. It's really simple.
I mean, it's super
And
clean.
actually this gun has the Cerakote on here is actually refinished. I didn't really like the look of the factory Cerakote. It was just I don't know. It didn't have no flair to it, but this one it's a little more matte black. It's a little more reflective against light as well. Sometimes in pictures, I can see the safeties actually reflect on that Cerakote. It's just I don't know. It's just a really clean gun, man. It's just looking really good.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's got a little bit of gloss in that matte finish. I would say it's more like a medium gloss rather than like a full matte. Obviously, I mean, towards the front of the gun, you got the X300 Turbo, Trigicon on top, the SRO. You know, big
Mm-hmm.
money optic. I see you, bro. The the if people know what these guns look like, the Prodigy, the staccatos, the bull barrel is like a chrome on the inside, so the chrome on the barrel matches the chrome on the
Yeah,
trigger.
let me give them a better look of that. That's the
Yeah,
bull
yeah,
barrel.
it's even ported.
Thick, thick barrel, two C's.
I mean, it's like cold oatmeal. Freaking, what are we doing? But
But yeah,
who
the
ported the
ports.
barrel?
You've heard of Magnaport?
No, I have not. Where they out of?
Yeah, they've just been in the game for a really long time. They were actually porting handguns before porting really got popular. Just
Nice.
look up a man named Ken Kelly. He's the owner of Magnaport. He's just been doing it for a really long time. He picked up the business after his father passed away. I think his
Mm.
name was Larry Kelly. Yeah, Larry. I believe it was Larry. Larry Kelly. Yeah. But yeah, Magnaport is just a business that that's been going on for a really long time. Like porting isn't the only thing that they do. They're also a gunsmithing shop, and I know that they work on revolvers a lot. They get a lot of revolvers and do a lot of custom work on those
Would you
too.
say that's their specialty, or what's Magnaport? I'm actually looking them up right now.
Well, Magnaport, I say porting is their specialty,
Yeah.
definitely. Hmm.
Yeah, I see. I just pulled up what I think is their website or something,
Yeah,
and they've got a
their
lot of
website is
revolvers.
like they
Huh?
haven't changed it in like a long time.
They haven't changed it since dial-up. My God, this thing looks terrible.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness,
you
bro.
gotta give them a call. Like the website doesn't really do it like that, but
it, it's hard because obviously if you're like kind of a mom and pop operation, or if you're like especially skilled in what you do and all your time and energy goes into doing the work, that and you're getting good business, it's like, why the heck would I worry about updating a website when it's got the things that we need? But yeah, those ports look good. Do you feel like those the it really helps trap those or get the gases out the way, help it shoot a little flatter, or is it really just kind of a style thing at this point?
I mean, yeah, it does help it. It does help it reduce a little recoil. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most effective porting out there,
Hmm.
but at the same time, a 2011 is already flat, so I wasn't really that interested in chunk ports at all.
Yeah,
I just wanted something that was just a little more simplistic, and I like these ports because they remind me of the Atlas Aries. Like there's an option on their website where you can have your Aries ported, and it kind of looks just like Magnaport. It's a trapezoidal porting, but it's upside down, I believe. It just reversed it.
nice. So let's get back to the front of the gun. So we talked about the ports and the barrel and the ultra thick boy that the barrel is. Talking about frozen peanut butter, and then the light option. You got the X300. What is that? The Ultra.
Yeah, it's the Ultra, not the Turbo.
Why did we choose the X300? Because that's an expensive light, 200-300 bucks depending on when you got it, where you got it. Uh,
Yeah,
why do we choose
like
the Surefire?
honestly, I chose it. I chose it because of the weight. I mean, having a heavy light on your gun, it really helps with more control as well. I mean, that's just just a little, what is it? Just another boost, like a little advantage, really.
Sure. Now I have heard some people complain that depending on the platform, you can create balance issues. That's why some people go for smaller lights, and some people go for bigger lights, and then they replace the battery with like a tungsten block because they want to add even more weight to give themselves more advantage. But then it's like, okay, like what are we doing? Yeah.
I mean, it really just matters on personal preference as well. I mean, brand loyalty really is a thing in the gun community.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I'm
Who
not
you
gonna,
telling?
yeah.
Who you
But
telling?
it's just really like a matter. It's just a personal preference. I mean, do you want a light that sticks out? You know, that'll protect your gun from going out of battery in case you have an assailant and you want to get that gun on them or something. Like if you have a light on your gun, it's not gonna go out of battery since it hangs way over the barrel.
Yeah, it definitely should
But then
not.
there's
If
people
if you ran into that issue, I'm concerned. What did you do?
that right, but there's also people, you know, that would just prefer to have a light that's more flush.
Hmm.
So, for example, people like stream lights because they're just smaller of a light. But I heard that the Holosun PID actually really works on the Prodigy. It's really flush. I mean, you can just stand a gun up. You can just stand a gun up like this. I mean, it'll just stand there on its own.
Right.
But
I've not tried the
lights are just.
PID yet, but if we get one in, I'll let the people know. Have you gotten a chance to run a PID?
I haven't, but I've known quite a few people who ran a PID on their Prodigies.
Hmm.
So, hmm
Hey.
I mean, they said, yeah, I know a guy. His name is John Wick 2.0. He
Oh
said the
yeah. I
PID.
know him.
Yeah, he said the PID was made for this Prodigy when he did his overview on his build.
Yeah. Actually, that's my dude. Love me some John Wick 2.0. I think
Yeah, he's solid, bro. He's
yeah,
a good
he's a
one.
solid dude. You can just tell, like, some people have the right, like, good energy. And I don't even like to get into, like, energies and whatnot, but, like, he's got good energy. Like, he's genuinely
Yeah,
trying to be helpful in this space. So I
yeah,
love that.
definitely.
Love that. I got to bring him on and let him talk about his prodigy. And then maybe we bring you both on. You can do a duel or like a little battle. Be like, and my prodigy's got the mem parts. Well, why'd you want mem parts?
That would make good content.
I mean, it might, but we got to get you guys. What we got to do is get you guys both out to the range and really like compare the two. You know what I mean? That's what we got to
Oh
do.
yeah.
So let's talk about Trijicon SRO. It's a competition optic on your carry gun or home defense gun. What is this?
Carry gun, yeah.
Okay. So what makes you so bold as to put a competition optic that's not rated for being dropped like that? Don't drop your gun, bro.
Like what they say about Olight. Um,
Mm.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just take good care of my stuff.
Yeah.
I've never really I've never dropped my gun like that, so it's not really a concern of mine, really.
Yeah. Fair. Now, with that, I'm like, okay, you went bougied out with the gun. You got the $300 light, $800 optic. Depends on where you buy it, when you buy it. Obviously, it's a high dollar gun. Was that the goal? You said tuxedo. This is the tuxedo gun. Like, if I'm going out to a fancy dinner, this is the gun I'm carrying. Like, leave the Glock at home. This is the gun. Like, I'm dressing up. I'm putting on my nice shoes. Is
Yeah.
that what this build is? Is like, hey, this is my money build.
When I meant by when I meant by tuxedo, I meant like just like a
The color
black,
scheme,
like
yes,
black and silvered out. But
yeah,
yeah, on a good day, like this is something that I'll definitely carry. But like if I'm just feeling lazy and don't want to carry something heavy, I'll definitely carry this. So
which is the Glock. What's that?
yeah,
The
well,
19X or?
yeah.
I mean,
I
speaking
got
of,
on my
why don't we
19X.
talk about that right now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to another gun. My battery is getting low anyway, but yeah, this gun is tricked out just like my Prodigy as well. I mean, we got the Surefire on there with another Trijicon optic, the RMR HRS,
Mm-hmm.
and a
Oh, so
hard
it's comped.
anodized 3 1/4 MOA dot. It's a really solid optic, and
What kind of
I
comp
keep
is that?
automatic mode. What'd you say?
What kind of comp is on that Glock? What I see is comped up.
Yeah, this is from Parker Mountain Machine. It's
Okay,
their single compensator.
yeah. So compensators, for those who don't know, it helps to redirect those gases upwards. You know, reducing some of that recoil, taking some of the snap out of it. Do you feel like it does a great job of really taking the snap out of? I mean, the Glock 19X doesn't have a lot of recoil, but do you feel like it helps?
Oh, definitely. Having a compensator definitely helps. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I wish I went with the double ported just to see how flat that would have been. But the single ported, I have no complaints. I mean, it made this gun feel very different as soon as I shot
Yeah,
it. Like I it was it, 19X is already a decent gun to control, but having a comp on there, it's a plus. It just makes shooting this thing really fun.
yeah. What are those 3 1/4 height sights, or are those suppressor height? What are those for your
Yeah,
iron
these are
sights?
some sites. These are from Trichicon as well.
Mm-hmm.
It gives
And
you a 1/3 co-witness.
I see you've got the customized backplate with the
Yeah,
Jif peanut butter. That's
yeah,
hilarious,
peanut butter. That peanut butter Glock, man.
bro. I'm not big into backplates, but that I like that. That's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, I don't like that place either, but I just felt it just really matched with this gun. Like it needed this. I mean, this is the only
Right,
backplate that I'll really ever buy. I'm not really
right.
a big fan of changing out backplates.
What?
Those dudes on YouTube Shorts who add that cringe Punisher skull on the back of their Glock or their.
Uh-uh.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
real quick, because I know we're short on time. Let's talk about that trigger. You may have mentioned it. What trigger did you change, and do you feel like it was worth it, or is there maybe another one you would have gone with?
Yeah, this is my favorite thing to talk about on my blog, actually. So I played around with my trigger quite a bit. So this is man, excuse me, but I
Hmm.
got the OEM trigger bar in here, and then this is the tack trigger from Overwatch,
Hmm. So
and
just a shoe.
yeah, just the shoe only. I left my bar OEM, but then I also have a ghost connector in this thing that I actually had to tune.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to think. So I'm not gonna lie, one thing that I probably would have changed about this trigger is actually the shoe itself. So I love this trigger very much, but with the tack trigger, it's made out of aluminum. And when you really get a high round count with this thing at the range, that trigger can get really hot after a while. So
It
you
starts to
really
transfer that heat.
yeah, so I probably should have went with the polydat trigger as much as I shoot, because once
Hmm.
again that trigger gets really hot if it's made out of metal.
That's
But I
not
mean,
something I've ever thought about, but I
yeah,
guess now people know. Potentially, if you're putting a lot of rounds down range and the gun's heating up, that trigger's going to feel some of that heat as it
yeah,
transfers
you're
through.
gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it, but then it's a positive as well because you're not getting as much. You're getting some heat being transferred over to the trigger instead of all of it being on the slide or the barrel, of course. So that's
Science.
an advantage as well.
At some level. You've done a lot to this gun. Like when we flip it around to the other side, we do see that you installed a gas pedal. You have what looks like ambidextrous extended slide release, slide stop catch, or whatever you want to call it. Um,
Yep.
and also you put some I don't know if that's goon tape or just like tape or hockey tape or what,
Yeah,
just
it's.
regular tape. Yeah, and a magwell. Of all those things, if you had to get rid of one, what would you get rid of?
I'll probably get rid of the goon tape and stop being cheap and get some stippling done.
Just get the stipple job done. Do you feel like that gas pedal really helps out, or I mean, you've already ported it, man, or not ported it? You've already got the comp. Do you really
Hmm.
need a gas pedal to? It's kind of like a ledge that you can place your thumb. For those who don't know, a ledge you can place your thumb to kind of help with the
I mean,
recoil.
yeah, it really helps. I mean, when you have a gas pedal on your gun, it really gets your thumb up higher on the slide, so you definitely get way more control of the firearm. Having a gas pedal or a thumb wrist, it really helps, along with having a compensator.
Yeah. Now I got to see your groups, man. We got to take this gun out to the range and see how you really run it because you've tuned this thing to the nines. It looks good. I'm a big fan. Um, yeah. Shoot, how much would you sell that for if you were like, I gotta okay, I gotta make ends meet. I gotta let go of my baby. How much would you sell that for if you had to name a reasonable price? You can't say $10,000 because that's not there's not a lot of Glocks.
It's a Glock, no. But so I say I got like around 2,500 into this build, but I'd probably sell it for like maybe 15 or 1,600 if I were to sell it with everything that's on here. But
Hmm.
if I were to sell this gun, I'd probably keep the optic in the light and just probably put it on another gun, maybe a FN 509 tactical, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Hmm.
So
I mean, like guns are tools. I mean, they get used a lot. That value really drops as soon as you put your first round in that gun. So
it does some hold their value to a point, but there is a drop off. And obviously, if you add a light, if you add an optic, the price goes up, right? So there's that. Okay, yeah. And if you had to get rid of that Glock and move on to another Glock platform, what do you think it would be? What would you go for?
definitely a Glock 34. A 34 is actually a pistol that's on my list. I don't know when I'm gonna get one though. I've just been
34.
slowing down handguns and just been focusing more on ammo, like spending more money on ammo than I do on my firearms. So I want to get more training, and eventually I want to get more content for my channel too. Like instead of indoor ranges, I want to go do outdoors. Do more drills. Hit steel targets, things like that. That are just more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, and we definitely want to make sure we get a chance to talk about your YouTube channel because we kind of, as we are want to do. We just kind of dove right into it. Hey man, show me the guns. Show me the guns. But
Hmm.
you are also a YouTuber. You know, you're big in the shorts, but you also have some longer form content. Some of the stuff that I've seen, I like what I've seen so far. You've not done anything to really piss me off yet. So, you know, keep it that way. Accountability, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And so you have a few other guns. You have a Taurus revolver. Can we talk about that? Now, the question is, are revolvers still relevant? PJ, can you tell us a little bit about your revolver game? Why do you have one?
I really have one for convenience. You know, a snub nose revolver specifically, but I don't know. I've always wanted. I think every American should at least have one wheel gun in their collection. Like, let's be real, wheel guns are actually really fun to shoot,
I
and
mean,
this is a
they are historical. Like, take me
mm-hmm,
back to the West, right?
definitely historical relevance. But yeah, this is a Taurus 856 chambered in 38 special, and you know 38 special is basically the 9 millimeter of the revolver world. It's just like the most basic caliber that you can have. Wait, are we allowed to show ammunition on
Yeah.
this?
Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, it's just a little 38 special. This is a Hornady critical defense. I don't remember how many grains that is, but I believe this thing can shoot plus P. But like I said, I really just have this thing for convenience. So like on lazy days, if I let's say if I'm going somewhere like not too far away, like a gas station or something, I'll just quickly put this on instead of getting my Prodigy or my 19X. You know.
I don't know. With some of these gas stations, you might need to bring two. You know what I mean? So,
Hey, you're probably right. Good old New York reload. Probably get two of these. I don't
hey
know.
man, switching to your sidearm is faster than reloading. So
True.
there's that.
Switching to your revolver is faster than reloading your revolver.
Bro, bro. You know, it's interesting because there's a lot of little ladies in America who have revolvers because they went into a gun store somewhere lacking any sort of training or actual, you know, knowledge about firearms and what's the best options for them. And they're told, hey, you can only have a revolver and we're going to give you a J frame or we're not going to give you anything that's complicated at all because we feel like you're not capable of loading a magazine, capable of racking a slide, you know, it's like, do you? I'm gonna ask you this just straight up. Do you feel like there's anything to that? Do you feel like, hey, you know, like honestly, if I gave my grandma a gun, it would be this revolver because it's so straightforward, so simple? Or do you feel like, hey, you know, there are guns like the Smith and Wesson EZ or the Walther PDPF that accommodate and are not they're not too much. How do you feel personally? You're allowed to feel however you want.
First off, I believe that's bullshit. But no, so like I see this a lot. Like a lot of men, they're really quick to recommend women like something that's smaller, something that's compact. But if you really know your guns like me and Atlas do, you would know for a fact that compact guns, smaller handguns in general, are just really shitty to shoot. I mean, you want to make your shooting experience enjoyable. I mean, you want to get something that will work for you. So that's why most of the time when girls in my DMs ask me what kind of gun should I get as my first handgun, I tell them rent a few guns at a range, see what works out for you, and really I recommend full size guns because they just full size or subcompact because they're just easier to control and it just makes your shooting experience so much better. I mean, that's why I carry full sized handguns. That's my reason.
Yeah, they honestly, if you go from shooting a Glock here, if you have small hands, shooting a Glock 17 can feel a little bit intimidating, unless you really have a good teacher that really teaches you how to get the webbing of your hand into the beaver tail to really crank down on the grip into like. But if you have like little baby hands, sometimes even that is difficult, right? But okay,
Yeah,
well, let's go down to the Glock 19 then. You got to go smaller than that, 48 maybe. But smaller than that, you start really running into issues and the feeling of shooting a gun that just kicks like a mule, bro.
hmm
It's physics. Smaller the gun, the more felt recoil you're going to get, the more punch into the palm of your hand you're going to get. It's just kind of sucks. So
Exactly. I mean, but it also depends on the firearm as well. Like you could get a small handgun, but it could be really easy to control. Like for example, if you get like a micro kimber or something chambered in 9 millimeter, that's gonna give you faster follow up shots because it's all metal. It has more weight. You know,
mhm.
there are some combat handguns that do have a little bit of weight, but when you get into things like polymer, then yeah, that's when they
Right.
usually have a little bit more recoil.
Right. And then
Definitely.
we start talking about like 380. Okay, it's got a little less recoil. I know we're supposed to be talking about revolvers, but I shot a Ruger Max 9 or something like that, whatever they're called. Is that the Boeing? I don't know. Um, the some what their newer model, the one that Coleon Noir helped him out with in regards to the marketing, and it was in 380, and I was like, for a gun that's this small, it's not bad. I'll look it up because you look
Wait, is
confused.
it called the Ruger LCP Max?
Uh, yes,
Yeah, I think I know
yes.
what you're talking about. I've heard about that gun, but I haven't shot it.
All these websites keep asking me if I'm 18 or older. I'm like, what do you guys have on this website that's so bad that I can't see it unless I'm an adult?
Right.
Y'all got stuff on here. What's going on? Hey, so so with the revolver, would you say you're at all proficient with it? Are you keeping that in your sock? Like, how are we carrying this thing? Is this a pocket gun? Like, what are we doing?
So really, it's a backup. I just keep it like in a crossbody bag.
Hmm.
Most of the time, my revolver is just my backup gun.
Hmm.
Especially during the winter, like I'll just stuff this in my coat pocket.
Hmm.
Like I could probably get this out faster than I could in the winter. I mean, than I could with the an appendix carry gun in the winter, just because it's in my pocket. I wouldn't
Hmm.
even have to take it out. I could just shoot out of my pocket, get the upper hand, surprise them for real.
Potentially, you could do
Yeah,
that.
potentially.
Um, Now, let's talk about kind of a controversial topic amongst especially not like certain demographics, but there are certain folks who really they're not big on like, hey, you gotta have this kind of holster or that kind of holster. For me, I'm like Kydex holsters for everything. I don't care without one. For you, it sounds like, well, we could use a pocket holster, or we since it's a hammer fire gun with the heavy hammer, maybe just rest in the pocket. How do you feel about those things?
So, well, the revolver, it's a double action,
Hmm.
so
It's fully
it's a
double
really
action, yeah.
safe gun. So I don't feel really concerned about having this in my pocket loose. I mean, you really gotta have you're really gonna feel that hammer going back when you shoot this thing. I mean, it's really safe. But yeah, with holsters, I'm definitely a Kydex guy. I agree with you on that. I mean, with this revolver, like sometimes I'll carry it in a leather holster, just a little
Hmm.
cheap little leather holster that I found at the shop. It's this one right here.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, it fits in there. I mean, it covers the trigger. I mean, it
yeah.
works.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing is like crazy stuff happens. Dogs have reached in and activated triggers and shot their owners. Like, how did a dog shoot its owner? It happened. Some lady was bending over a fence.
Shoot a Glock frame or a Glock grip.
Uh, yeah, so these dogs be doing some stuff, bro. I don't know.
You know.
I've had a few dogs in my life. They're beautiful creatures, but they're capable of so much devastation.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like how did he even get to that, bro? Like how do you even chew up a Glock like that?
Bro.
It's wild to me.
Okay, so I know you have one or two more in the collection. Let's make sure we get through it.
Yeah, the last one, it's this Beretta 92 FS. It's actually a cool story on this gun as well. How
Heck
I
yeah,
got
bro.
it.
Tell me the story.
So it was on Thanksgiving. Me and my buddy, we had Glocks, right? He had a Glock 29 chambered at 10 millimeter. and I had a Glock 21 chambered in fully. Oh my God, chambered in 45. It was a full size
You
handgun.
know, I almost thought you said chambered and fully automatic, and I was about to lose my mind.
Oh man, but no, but basically he liked my 21 way more than his 29, so we ended up trading. And we that day on Thanksgiving we rented this gun because a Beretta is actually his dream pistol. So he really wanted me to rent this, and I just said, it's Thanksgiving. I'll go ahead and rent it. And it was my first time shooting a Beretta as well, and I actually ended up falling in love with this gun. I liked this so much that I asked the RSO at the range if I could buy this or maybe trade it. And he's like, come back tomorrow on Black Friday and we'll see what we can do. And me and my friend went back, and I just ended up getting approved. And really, this gun is just something that I rub in his face. Like every time I take it out, he's like, I don't like you, bro. I don't like you. You got my dream gun.
Bro, I mean, it's a beautiful gun. Like you got to bring it back and let's kind of walk through it because for those who are listening who haven't got a chance to really see it, it's got brown grips on the side panels. It's pretty
Yep.
much a brushed, not a brush black, but like a what would you say? It's like almost gray black finish all the way around, even the
Definitely.
barrel. What color would you say it is?
Oh yeah, it's definitely black. I mean, it's
It's
just
a
the
black.
light.
The lighting, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
black all the way around, trigger, frame, everything, minus the walnut brown grip panels with some texturing, and of course the
Hmm.
gold and Beretta symbol on the side. And
Yep.
yeah, it's just a beautiful gun. The barrels on Berettas are partially, pretty much fully exposed from, I guess, where the trigger housing is, all the way to the front, just wrapped around. Where the front side is where it does connect, and yeah, it's like, man, how does that change the reliability of a gun that the most of the barrel is exposed? This is my ignorance speaking because I don't spend a lot of time with Berettas, but
I mean, it definitely does because when your barrel is, oh my God, I cannot speak. When your barrel is exposed, your barrel cools off way faster than it would if this was covered by a slide.
true.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I can see it being more reliable as well. I mean, the barrel is exposed; it's just right there. You don't have to really take the gun apart, to get in there.
Hmm. But
Yeah.
also, there is a little bit more room for dirt, dust, mud, ice, whatever, if you're in adverse conditions, to kind of seep down into the frame because there's more spots for it to get into the frame. Do you feel like that could potentially throw you off if you're in like crazy conditions?
Well, I'm gonna use an example. So, Gareth, like a while back, he did a freezing pistol test, and
Yeah.
on the video, he actually had a Beretta M9, and he put liquid nitrogen over it, and the gun was just frozen. It wouldn't fire at all.
Hmm.
So I mean, if I'm in like really extreme conditions, I can see that being an issue. I mean, we had guys who were in Iraq coming back saying how shitty M9 Berettas were, but then forget that they were in a desert that's really hot, and they're probably not maintaining their weapons as well as you think they do. I mean, not everyone
Yep.
in the
Hot,
military is
dusty, dirty.
military. Yeah,
It's funny that you say that because a lot
you
of
know,
people assume,
Berettas were pretty.
yeah, but people assume like, oh, I'm in the military, so I know something or two about guns. And you know something about guns, but you don't know enough usually, unless that's your specialty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's like many examples of that. I mean, if you go on Instagram, I recently seen like a post about that, like guys who are in the military who say they're experts but don't even properly handle their rifle. I mean, it's just really cringe. I mean,
Oh, bro, what did I see? I saw some guys doing some drills, and it was the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm just like, who, why, what is I'm like losing my mind. Anyways,
like
bro.
those type of drills are probably the scenarios that they think of in their head, like what they think
Mhm.
might happen to them, bro. But You never know.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
just some over the top shit, like something that they'll see in the movie. I guess I don't know, being surrounded on every angle or something.
bro, there is a guy who he puts himself in a room. I guess there's nobody else in there except for the camera. And he does like a four-way drill. Do not try this at home. In fact, if I see you try this at home, if you don't die, I'm coming for you. Like they have, he's got a target in front of him, he's got a target behind him, to the rear, and one to his left and to the right. And within 1.7 seconds, he's putting bullets on each one of these targets. And that's his thing. He shoots back, forth, left, right. And
Yeah,
I'm
he's
just
going
like,
around like boom, 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 and like I think he's even like stabbing the targets with a machete or something.
I've seen him stab a target or two, and
I
it's
know who you're
ridiculous.
talking.
It's hilarious, but it's ridiculous.
I mean, I guess he's having fun, but it's just not something really practical. I mean, I know the clip you're talking about though, because I've seen it on Handle the Grips. You know, they repost a lot of funny memes on there, a lot of gun meme content.
Hmm.
I actually have that video on my phone. It's really hilarious.
Yeah,
I found it on a subreddit called Idiots with Guns. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
find a lot of stuff on there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Fair. So I know we've taken some time to talk about your top four firearms. Now, was there any others that we missed, or are those the four that we wanted to go over?
Oh, these are like, this is my collection. I only own four handguns. Like, this is everything.
And that's what
I
I
brought
wanted to
out.
talk about, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
is is there virtue in having a smaller collection that you can spend time with, or do you really need the big? Like I've got a lot of friends who have got collections of over 100 guns in their collection, and hey, more power to you. Have as many guns as you can buy if you want. But is there virtue in maybe having a smaller collection of firearms that you can run reliably? You're very familiar with each one. If you picked up one half sleep, and I don't recommend that, like wake up if you're going to pick up a gun, right? You could run it in your sleep, technically. Like, what's your thought process behind it? Or do you ever want to get to a point where you have 100 guns in your safe?
I mean, yeah, I definitely want to have a lot of guns, but I think there is a bit of virtue to having a smaller collection because when you have a smaller collection, like you get more time with your guns. I mean, you have more time to shoot your collection. If you have a big collection, I don't know, it's just I think that can just really like start bad habits, especially if you're always switching from platform to platform, if you're
Mm-hmm.
always shooting something different. I mean, I just stick with the same four guns and I just run these at the range and I'm content, really. I want to be proficient with the handguns that I have. I mean, I don't really see like, I mean, get as many guns as you want if you have the means, but if I have a big collection, there would definitely be some guns that would be more of a paperweight or just more of a showpiece that would just sit on my wall or something, you know?
Right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I suppose that's the question: is can you even potentially, if you have 100 guns? Because I know people, and it sounds like a big number, and it kind of is. But if over some of these gun tubers that we know, um, they get 10 guns a year through, like, hey, company sends them out a gun. And so if you do this for 10 years, how many guns is that? It adds up.
Guns.
And then if they decide, ooh, I'm not getting this sent out to me, I'm going to go buy this rifle, or I'm going to go pick this up because it's not a new gun. I'm picking up something I want, like a Beretta 92, you know, like now you've got more guns. And it's like, okay, some of these are going to be paperweights. Should you sell some of these and go get something you really want? Should you um, move on from some and invest in training so that you can really run your guns in a way that's extremely effective, extremely proficient? Like, what's the philosophy? And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to do it. I'm sure you have your thoughts, but I think people should think about it. Like, think, Mark, think.
Yeah. I mean, like, one thing that I see that's really common, like these YouTubers, like the big names out there, they have a lot of guns in their
Mm-hmm.
collections, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they have that one gun that makes them confident, and it's usually something like a Glock or maybe a M&P.
Right.
Like that's. their everyday carry. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be realistic. Like people who have big collections, they probably don't have all the time to shoot all those guns. I mean, they always have that one handgun that they shoot like and train hard with. The other guns, it's just something that they take out to the range to have fun. It's just something that they talk about with their friends. I mean, I don't judge
Yeah.
people who have a lot of guns, but it's really a hobby. Like it's more of a passion thing. Some people are just really into firearms, just like how some people are really into collecting cars or knives. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone has interests. Like everyone has things that they like. But at the
With
same
the knife
time,
collections, it's interesting because you can. I've seen some absurd knife collections, and for some reason, I've seen more girls who collect knives than I have seen guys who collect knives. I wonder if it's just because of the circles I run in. Guys are more into the guns, you know. But like you look at a table, they've got like 10 on this table, and that's not even their full collection. All the different colors, limited edition colors. This one's was sent off to this company to get painted up, and you're like, oh wow,
like with
like
thousand layers of Damascus, crazy etchings, bro, like engravings, carbon fiber handles, man.
who you telling? It sounds like you've seen some knife
Patina.
collections.
Yeah, I have. Like I have a few friends who are really into knives. I mean, some of them are really knife snobs.
Like they won't touch a knife under $200. Like it's like
Yeah,
two hundred bucks is too little.
I actually bought a new knife today. I actually left it in the basement, but
Mm,
it's a Spyderco Spy Opera little
nice,
Damascus knife made by Damas Steel, made in
nice.
Italy. It's a really beautiful knife.
How much that set you back?
For
Yeah, that's not too bad for a Damascus. Yeah.
I mean, I'll pay for that because I don't really see that Spyderco every day. So
Hmm.
I mean, like I was lucky when I found it. I mean, like if I were to go on Blade HQ right now, I could not find the knife that I purchased today.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah, they're
I'd probably be paying more too. Like,
it's interesting because I'm not sure. Do you know if Instagram is bad about knives in the knife community? Because I know that they're horrible about guns. Even airsoft guys get dinged. I guess knives aren't regulated so much.
oh no, Instagram definitely be on dick with knife content creators, dude. Like,
Hmm.
I this is one page called Have It Works. I actually
Hmm.
have a knife being made by the guy at the moment. It's like it's a really long wait, but I think it's gonna be worth it. But his content, like it gets really Instagram hits him a lot.
Mm.
They hit him a lot on his knife content, and it's just really bullshit because you just see like every time you get on Instagram, you just see so much ass or something, bro. Like girls like fully nude, but we can't, bro. Us men can't post our guns, bro. Like we just can't post the things that make us happy. What the
Hey,
fuck,
man,
man?
he said, "Suns out, guns out." I demand suns out,
Exactly.
guns out.
Like right, bro.
He said, "Gun
Like
boy
everyone's
summer, let's
okay
go."
seeing some buns, bro, but y'all got a problem seeing guns, bro. Like gun guns don't kill people. Humans do.
He said, "Guns over buns every time."
Right.
I love it, bro. So I did want to just take a few minutes because we want to wrap up in probably about 10 minutes just to make sure we can respect people's time. But
Yeah.
let's talk about your YouTube career because recently you've seen a little bit of success. You've put out some good content. You put out some fun content. Where do you feel like you really shine in this thing? Like, first of all, where can people find your YouTube? Like, if they were just like, "Oh, who is this guy?" Okay, I kind of like what he's about. He said that one thing about holsters that I don't like, but I'll forgive it. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, man. The channel name is Peasy or PJ. You can find me on YouTube. I mean, on Instagram, my name is also Peasy or PJ. I have a link to my channel in my bio. But I think where I really shine the most is my YouTube shorts. I mean, nowadays, like ever since 2020, it just seems like everybody's attention span has gotten really low. So a lot of people are just really into 60-second clips, like TikTok really popularized that. And I just saw it as an opportunity to grow my numbers. I mean, shorts, I believe, are really good for helping you build your following. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're quick. I mean, people are more likely to click on those instead of longer form videos, which which is honestly kind of discouraging for content creators who actually put a lot of time into that kind of stuff. I mean, you really need to have patience.
Yeah.
You really need to have patience with
Me,
long form
me, I
videos.
need to have patience. No, but
Like
seriously,
putting
like
all that work
I get
in
it.
just for it not to get 1,000 views versus your shorts. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've, it's, there is something discouraging about putting 20 hours into a video, or even like if we don't even have to talk about the actual production and editing and then posting. Talk about the experience that was required to get to a point where you could get in front of a camera on a range, and shoot in landscape mode, put content down, like actually make a video, come home, edit it, like 20-minute video, 15-minute video, 10-minute video, even post it. And then because it's not quite the right topic or the algorithm isn't prioritizing it, I don't really have a big issue with feeling like YouTube is trying to suppress my long form, like Armed Atlas content. But I do feel like it's easy for it not to be recommended if it's not a trending topic. Like, oh, like we're talking about like a couple weeks ago we mentioned the Canik TTI Combat Terran Tactical. That video's doing well, but anything else, eh?
Bro, those TTI combats sold out like hotcakes, man. I've been seeing the prices creeping up too, like
Mm-hmm.
1,400, bro. Nobody's gonna pay 1,400 for a Canik. Like I'd rather wait for that. Like I'm interested in that gun too, actually, but I
Mm-hmm.
am not dropping 1,400 on a fucking Canik. I'm sorry. I don't care if TTI's name is stamped to it. It's just
Yeah,
it's a Canik, bro. I feel like Canik is the CZ that you have at home. I mean, I don't hate
stop.
Canik, but I love Caniks. I love Caniks, bro. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's I would say it's probably closer to Walther, the Walther we got at
Oh
home.
yeah,
But no, you're right. You probably shouldn't pay $1,400 for a Canik Mete Pro. That's pretty much what it is, with a comp on it, with a special paint job, with the, enhanced grip because of the texturing and the fluted barrel or whatever. Like you don't have to do that. You should probably wait for it to be the price that it's supposed to be. $1,000, maybe
yeah.
1,050. Like, okay, you paid $100 more than you should have,
I
but
say 1,000 is decent for a Terran Tactical Canik collaboration,
mhm.
but nothing above that. I mean, Caniks are nice guns, but I'm not gonna pay that much for one. I mean, I
Right.
recently shot a Rival S at a range, and I really liked it. It
Oh
felt really
man, those
great.
references are nice, bro.
Yeah, and the triggers are nice too. Or
The trigger.
the TP9 SFX.
Hmm.
That's a nice one too.
Yeah, I didn't like the TP9 series as much. Like there are some that are pretty good. I shot one that was maybe a little bit. The barrel was a little bit too long, and I felt like I really couldn't control it the way I want to. Like it was just a little bit
Mm.
too flippy. Like it needed something added on to make it better. But for the price point of where they were always at with the TP9s, it's like, okay, well, you can make it better. Just
I
just
mean, you're right about that. There's nothing worse than a full size gun that still feels very flippy. I mean, I
yeah.
have a friend who says that about full size Walther PDPs. He says for a full size gun, they're actually pretty bouncy. And I was
They
actually
they they do bounce. Now, everything about them is nice except they bounce. Now, if you go into like the full steel frame, I don't think you still have those issues. But then you run into other issues of like, hey, you got to really maintain uh, the lubrication. I
Mhm.
wanted to say lubricity, but that's not. I don't think that's the right word. You got to really make sure those are lubricated or they slow down. Somebody said, and it's been said, like, hey, get the PDP or whatever, change the springs, and then you're good, because the springs, the internal springs, are what kind of creates a lot of the snap. Generally, you can
Yeah,
do
I've
other
heard about
things.
that as well. Specifically for the full sizes, but I haven't really heard much about the compacts. I heard the compacts are more balanced.
Well, I've I know you shoot the 19X. When I got my
Hmm.
Glock 45, before I put the light on it, before I put the optic on it, I felt like it was the most balanced handgun I've ever shot in my life. Like I could shoot that thing so flat out the
Really?
box. Yeah. Then you start adding lights to it and it kind of changes the balance a little bit. Although if you focus, you can really, get it to shoot the way it's supposed to. But at that point, it's like, ooh, should I add a radiant ramjet to it? Maybe, but it's up
Hmm.
to you. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Changing parts is a question mark. I know you have no problem changing parts out, but some people they're like, oh, I want my guns to be as stock as possible just in case something happens. And how do you feel about that? Obviously, you're okay with it, but have you ever thought like, dang, like if this gun ever got taken into evidence, what are they going to say?
I really just think it depends on where you live at, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here in Wisconsin, that's where I live. There's not really any restrictions on handguns. I mean, you can put anything you want on your guns over here. It's not really an issue where I live, but I think
Well,
it's
do you
just
feel
a
like a
matter.
prosecutor might try to be like, hey, this guy, this dreadlocked young man out here is looking for a fight. He called his gun peanut butter, and clearly look at it. It's dangerous. You feel like some bleeding heart prosecutor who wants to nail you to a cross. You know, do you feel like that could happen, or is that just like, nah, not here?
I mean, it could be a potential. I mean, like, that's a prosecutor's job. They're always trying to look for ammunition. They're not
Right.
really. They're trying to get you in jail. They're not trying to keep you out of jail. So
That's what they
yeah,
do. That's what they
yeah,
do.
they do. It's their job.
Yeah.
I mean, some drag it, but yeah, I mean, there's a chance of that. It
But
could be.
I don't know. I think it is a little bit different if you have an online presence and you establish yourself as a peaceful, loving person who happens to have guns versus kind of the opposite where nobody knew you had any guns at all. And then all of a sudden something weird happens and it's like, oh, he look at him. He had 5 guns at home. Wow.
People's perception of you matters too. I mean, like,
Hmm.
mannerisms like really count.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah. I
I
mean, the way
mean,
you present too.
I feel like you present well. Like like I felt very respected the entire time we've talked, and that's not even a question, right? Because you've always been cool, with me, and it's like I'm just gonna assume that everybody who meets you, if they don't like you, they're just a hater. I'm just gonna assume that.
Yeah, mostly. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a very honest person. Sometimes they might not like what I say. Sometimes, I mean, or I'll try to correct them and they get defensive or block me on
True.
Instagram. That's happened to me a couple times. But
Are we talking about like gun stuff? Like, hey, bro, you should fix this, or are we talking about like
yeah, like
other stuff?
yeah, like gun stuff, yeah, gun stuff. I've had some creators probably get mad at me for like how I'm not gonna say who, but there was this guy who didn't even knew what AR stood for in AR-15. He thought it meant Armalite, but I mean, he thought it meant assault rifle, but it really means like Armalite rifle.
Right.
Like
Yeah. I mean that's the true definition of AR-15. If you don't know that, I mean, it's fine not to know, but don't speak on things and then pretend like you know, and then it's like, oh, bro, we've got like 2 minutes. Is there anything you wanted to share real quick before we head out?
I don't really have anything. I mean, I think we really covered on
I feel
everything
like
that.
I feel like we covered most things. But once again, if you could just let people know where to find you, and then we'll sign out, let people know where they can support and whatnot. I'll give you the screen.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, PZ or PJ, just no spaces. I mean, on my channel, it's the same PZ or PJ, Peezy, and yeah, you get it.
Excellent. So, guys, thank you so much for watching or listening. We're gonna link PZ's Instagram on the show notes and his YouTube channel. We're going to link that on the YouTube side as well. So you're going to be able to click through. It's going to be no issues getting to that. Guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, wherever you are. If you're on the podcast side and you feel like we need to do a couple of things differently to make the show more suitable to podcasting, hit me up on Instagram or hit me up at info@costlymedia.com. It's going to be somewhere you should be able to reach me easily. I'd love to connect. And guys, if you have any questions, comments, things like that, let me know. That said, if you want more of these, let me know. This has been Gat Chat, production of the Gun Club YouTube channel, and I'm just excited to be here, guys. Peace.